This is Christy Mathern and Alba West, and you're listening to High Desert Voices. Thanks for joining us, listeners. We're here in the 970 West recording studio to talk to Terry Chase, author of the book Spoke by Spoke, How a Broken Back and a Broken Bike Led to a Wholehearted Life. Terry Chase is a nationally recognized speaker, teacher, and award-winning author. Her career began in teaching, where she explored her passion for working with children in physical education and enjoyed introducing them to Colorado's wilderness areas while guiding them to their own resilience. But then Terry was involved in a bicycle accident that left her partially paralyzed and suddenly unable to do many of the things that she loved. The ensuing challenges she faced and the nuanced care she received during her rehab led her to a renaissance and a new career path in nursing and beyond. Terry has a doctorate in nursing and an MA in spiritual psychology, and she wrote the book Spoke by Spoke in 2021 about her journey. She also works with nonprofit leadership groups, outreach groups, church communities, and other groups of people looking to learn more about courage and connection. She recently released her interactive Spoke by Spoke Guidebook, which takes the extra step of encouraging readers to reflect on how the lessons in the book might shape their own lives. Thank you so much for being here, Terry.
Thank you.
So here at the High Desert Voices podcast, we're big fans of storytelling. And I'm personally fascinated about the stories that we tell ourselves to get through life. And it seems like that your book, which we both read in full, is about a lot of these stories that we tell ourselves. Can you talk a little bit about the story you're telling us in this book about taking control of the stories that you tell yourself and how important that is?
Sure. So my first book, Spoke by Spoke, was a series of stories, memoir stories about my experiences of living with spinal cord injury. And through those stories, I shared my ups and downs and all arounds, and the things that got me through, that helped me, get through the challenge, helped me expand myself. And I also share that there are times when I wasn't so sure, and then I wanted to, just take an easy way out, and I realized that that wasn't the best way. In my second book, Spoke by Spoke Guidebook, I invite the readers through a series of what I call spokes of insight, which are reflection prompts and creative activities, some of them large, like moving around and going certain places, to explore their own stories and to do some guided inner work for their own development.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Before you started writing Spoke by Spoke, had you written seriously or intensively before, or ever, tried to pen anything big?
No, I never really took. I did classes like in English and writing and that kind of stuff, but I wasn't like a master's of fine arts or any of that. I wasn't. I was a PE teacher, and then I turned into a nurse, and on and on and on. But what I found was there was a real calling to share my stories in a way that would help people. But even then, I had worked with a couple of different writing coaches. I had joined some writing groups, ones that were nice and weren't mean and going to beat you up. So that was good.
It's very important.
That was really good, yeah. And then I was in a 6-month course with a memoir, or someone who specializes in memoir writing. And that helped me. What I found was that the feedback from not just the coaches, but also the people in the group really helped me be better at writing. So that's really the extent of my preparation in writing. It was really just doing it that was really what helped me the most.
And I just before you joined the writing groups and started getting some feedback on stuff, had you started writing your book?
No, I was writing these stories. I was writing these stories down because I was starting to worry that I was going to forget. And I was starting to think that, it was valuable for me. And really one of the things I learned is that, we write for ourselves first, and then if other people want to join along, that's great. But I was still very shy about sharing. I didn't want to come across as bossy or if I can do it, you can do it. I didn't want to do that. And neither of my books are recipes or checklists. This is what I tried, and you might want to try it too, but they're not to tell people what to do.
No, definitely. I can definitely tell that you put yourself out there. You're very vulnerable, and it really opens up to having a more, like you said, this is what happened. This is what you should be doing, right? And I think that's really big when it comes to maybe a self-help book where you can take what you need. This was very easy read, but also very difficult read for me. I can appreciate almost that you weren't trying to get too wordy. You weren't trying to, this is a book for educated people. It was like anybody can read through this. But again, simultaneously, I was like, I need a break. I'm going to cry right now. This is, oh my goodness. Probably have like 5 different times we're talking about it. We're like, man,
Yeah, we were
very powerful.
talking earlier about the fact that we both shed a few tears reading this book. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And part of that comes from the vulnerability that she was just talking about. And there's a lot of like gritty detail in this book, and lots of vulnerability. You touch on the importance of being vulnerable in, I think, the last chapter. Can you talk about that, like the importance of being vulnerable and telling this story, both for yourself and for people who read it?
Sure. Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because I'm facing some other changes, with aging, with spinal cord injury and all of that. And, there's another level of vulnerability. So I'm not the expert in vulnerability. I'm still continuing to explore it and learn on my own. But one of the things I learned early on was, asking for help, when I really needed it. Being okay with saying, I can't do something, and at the same time, I'm going to find another way. It also helped me be more connected to myself and to others when we share. And that's really, I'm glad that you're getting that through the book, because it's really I'm all about relationship and connection. Because I think that's the way that will help heal our own selves and help each other.
Right. I felt like at its core, this book was about human connection in our relationships to ourselves too. Yeah. Since you published the book, have you been able to deeply connect with your readers?
I have in some ways. It's not like I have this worldwide following of readers. I do know that there are people out there reading it. It's interesting that you say you shared it. You shared that you had a few tears and all of that. But when I was recording this with someone local in town I called her my sound engineer, and we're recording it for Audible. And I looked over after, we would stop every chapter or so just to kind of reset and take a breath and all that. And I looked over at the end of chapter 3 and she's crying. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we stop. I say,
You're late. You need a breather.
Hey, what's going on over there? She said, oh my God, this is helping me so much. My husband died a couple of years ago and I just haven't dealt with it. And I'm like, okay, this book's going to help people.
Yeah.
So yes, I believe it has connected with people, and people share with me, how it touched them. And so that was great for the first book. And yet my motivation was, well, what about for you? So that was the motivation to the second book was, okay, I still share some of my stories, not all of them. I shortened them, but I also give them the reader, an opportunity to do exploration on their own.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago when we met up for coffee, you were telling us that when the book came out, you were like, so what does this mean for you though, as the reader? Right. And you had made this guidebook recently that basically invites them to do so, to reflect inwardly on a personal level. And you also offer these pop-up sessions with the guidebook for groups that are interested in fostering this sort of thing. Can you explain what happens at these pop-up sessions?
Sure. Well, what's going to happen at these pop-up sessions is, first of all, this fall, I'm offering them just for the cost of a few books. If they want to buy a load of books for their group, that's great, or I'll just bring some books and people can buy one at a reduced rate. Or they don't even have to buy one at all. They can just show up. But what I want to do is I will read, so depending on the group, I would pick 1 or 2 of my stories, read those, and then I would work. I'm a facilitator. I'm an educator. I love to get people involved in dialogue and interaction and process and all of that. So I will pick a couple of my stories that are pertinent to that group. Like for a church group, I would probably pick the one about the plain white garment. About there was kind of a spiritual situation that happened, and just my faith that kept me moving forward. So I would probably pick that for that group, read that story, do the little reflection prompts and activities with them, and then open it up for discussion. But really, they're interactive, they're informal. If I could sell a few books, great. But that's not the whole purpose. The whole purpose is to get the book in people's hands and open it up and try something with it.
Yeah. And so you customize it just a little bit for each group. That's awesome.
Well, let me give you another example. I'm hoping that one of our local downtown sporting goods stores will remain unnamed, but you can buy a lot of great stuff there. It's my favorite store in town. I'm talking to them about, can I do one at your place? And I would read this couple of stories about the outdoor stuff that I did.
It's very relevant.
Very
I think,
relevant.
you know,
the biking, the sea kayaking, all of that. It's like, come on, I can customize this just about anybody.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The story, I'm just going to tell you about reading one of your stories in the book. The whales and the kayak story. Oh my gosh. That one was just like, it was a nice breather, but also like this, because it's not quite like the other stories in the book. It's like almost a break.
Yep.
And I was in the water.
Wow.
It's like I was just sitting there looking at the whales. I'm like, this is very nice. What a nice experience I'm having right now.
Vicariously through, yeah.
Until they start coming towards you, and then
Yeah,
you're like,
I mean, that's terrifying, especially like what we know and just how orcas have been in the news.
Yes.
Yikes. Scary stuff. I did want to ask you, I'm going to borrow a question from your website, actually. You had some fun questions on your website. The experiences you write about in this book are massive, but the book is a really quick read. Is there a lot of material that got edited out of this book, or are there things you left out?
Yeah, there probably were. I mean, I actually have a whole other memoir, like 40,000 words, what I call my mom memoir, which is, about my younger life. And so some of those stories were left out because they didn't fit in this one. But I can't say that there was too much left out. I think what's interesting for me is that what is yet to be written. And so I do have another book in the works, not ready for prime time at all, but it's more about the stories of dealing with challenge and loss and change and transition and all of that. So I hope to maybe bring some of those forward that didn't make it into these two.
Okay. So you got another book kind of in the head or on the paper. You said 40,000 words.
Yeah.
That's
that doesn't mean
that's
anything.
A book.
If you're a writer, you're like, yeah, that's a bunch of you know what.
Yeah, that is kind of the case. Okay. And you said it was going to be your mom book. You wrote a story for Western Colorado Voices that had to do with your mom bonding with a infant.
Correct.
Right? And so I guess it could be more along those lines too.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a great story. I enjoyed that one too.
You're very active in the community. What's the draw there? What is almost like a force pulling you back into the community?
Sure. Well, I've been a resident of Western Colorado since 1976, and I was my first hometown in Colorado was in Lake City. And you're probably wondering, how'd you end up in Lake City? Well, there was a group of people that I knew that had went there to start a logging camp, and they asked me to join in as like a cook and do some other things. And I was between experiences and not yet ready for college, but exploring. So I went up to Lake City. I fell in love with Western Colorado even before that. Went to school in Gunnison, and I had two majors. One was physical education, the other one was sociology. And my sociology degree, my practicum was to work with identifying nonprofits in the Gunnison, Mount Crested Butte area when all of the big climax mine was starting to come in and stressing the human services there. So my project was to create a booklet of human services in that area. So that's I've always been very community service, human service oriented. So then when I got my first teaching job here in Grand Junction in 1980, I again became involved in just about everything that I could around working with people. So my teaching, my coaching, my refereeing. I was one of the only female college basketball referees on the Western Slope. I did volleyball, high school and college too. Taught Sunday school classes at St. Joseph's, worked for Partners, had a partner, fostered my two younger brothers during a period of time there, and then the community just became my support system. And so then when I got hurt and the community, all these different facets of the community came up to help me, I was just like, oh my God, they didn't all know each other. I knew them because I was involved, but it was really cool to see, how all of them connected and all of that. I left the Valley for a period of time and I came back, and one of the first things I had the privilege of being asked to do was be on the board of the Rocky Mountain Health Foundation, and our mission is to support nonprofits in 22 Western Slope counties with grants in all various ways, And that gave me, again, another opportunity to know, to really know what's going on in the human services. And work, too. I mean, I do I'm on a couple of boards and some other things, but I just think that human services and nonprofits in particular really support the fabric of our communities, and I want to support them.
Awesome. How do you find the time to do everything you've done? It seems like from the beginning, maybe you've had just a million things you're juggling. You were working on your degree. You were working on recovering. You had a partner. I know that in daily life, it's hard to find time for yourself, even for many people. What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, it's an ongoing project.
Apparently, you've been working on this for a minute.
Yeah. So
you're perfecting the juggling.
So how I coach people is because the way I coach people and what I teach people is what I have had to learn. So one of the things that I work with people on, both individually and groups, is something called time affluence. And it's a mindset. It's around like, I have enough time to do X, Y, Z. And so instead of time, what is it? Time, I can't remember.
Management?
No, it's some other thing. I can't remember. It'll come up. But anyway, so the way it works practically is when I was writing Spoke by Spoke, I would set my timer on my phone for 30 minutes. And I would say, okay, I have just enough time to write da-da-da-da. And so I did a series. I did multiple weeks, sometimes months of 30-minute chunks of writing and editing, and that's how I got that done. So I coach people now. You say you don't have enough time? All right, what is it you want to do? Oh, I need to figure out what I'm doing for dinner. I'm saying, okay, set the timer for 10 minutes. I want you to just write down on a piece of paper what you've got in the closet, what you think you want to do, what you need to pick up at the store, and come up with an idea for dinner. And they're like, oh, okay, ding, time's up. How'd you do? Oh, good, I've got my idea. I know what I'm going to do. So it's that I have enough time. Instead of this time, dang it, I can't remember. See, I'm losing my mind. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to look it up. I put on my phone on airplane mode.
Your time spent. Yeah,
it's like time deficit. Like
Sure.
You don't have enough of anything. It's like, well, let's talk about time affluence. We have enough time to do X, Y, Z.
I feel both called out and inspired and challenged.
Definitely.
I just had to close my jaw. I'm like, that's how I approach washing dishes or doing anything I don't like in my house. But I've never considered putting it over to the important stuff.
Yeah, just the yeah.
Yeah, try it.
Oh, yeah. I'll take that one home with me. Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything that you have coming up that you would like to talk about?
Well, I've got a couple of pop-ups already scheduled. Even though Barnes & Noble is calling it a book signing, I'm calling it a pop-up. I'm going to be at Barnes & Noble in Grand Junction here next Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4, and I'll have my books there. I'll talk to people. Once again, you can't walk by me without saying something, so say hi, or I'll have to run after you. I'll have my books there. I would really love to talk. Actually, what I'd love to do is open the book and show people, some of the activities and the prompts and talk with them about, do you have a group in your life that might, be interested in having a visit from me. So I'd like to do that on September 7th. I think it's a Sunday. I'll be at the Lithic bookstore in Fruta. And I've ran into so many people that don't know about the Lithic. And I'm like, you guys, you've got to know about the Lithic.
I didn't know about it until, was it 2 years ago?
One of you.
2 years ago. It's just, I have that Grand Junctionitis where if I have to drive more than 5 minutes anywhere, I'm like, oh, it's so far.
I will drive for the Lithic.
Yes.
Really?
I like it there.
Yeah. Well, now I will. But before that, I was kind of closed off a little bit to.
I feel like every time I go there, I find a book that changes my life.
Wow.
I'm serious.
Really
I have a good track record.
Hardcore.
Well, they have a good.
It's a lot of pressure to visit the Lithic bookstore.
The curation of the books there.
Sure.
I don't mean this to be like
No,
a
yeah.
Lithic commercial.
They do a
I have
good job.
Feelings about Lithic. It's just
No,
good.
that's awesome. Yeah,
They
we need
pick
to.
good stuff.
So I got those two scheduled. I've got a couple of Rotary clubs. I've got Palisade, Montrose, Cedar Ridge is looking at getting me on their books. The Rotary Club, service clubs.
Do you post your schedule on your website? Is that consistent?
Yeah, I'll probably do it more social media, and then I will do a pop up at the barn that I ride the horses at in Fruta. So I'll get that scheduled. I'd like to do that. Shop downtown, Gear Junction, by the way. I'd like to do that.
Oh, secret's out. Let us know if we need to edit that out.
By the way, my favorite store, the best store in the whole valley.
It's pretty
Anyway,
cool.
Yeah, so, and then some other ones. I mean, I would love to. I mean, seriously, for the fall, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I have other speaking gigs. that I charge, my speaker fee, but these are just, for the cost of the book if they want to buy one or two. That'd be great.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I should have known you probably have a busy schedule.
I have another question. How did you get through school and everything that you went through, your recovery, debt-free?
Well, I wasn't really totally debt-free. I had support. I did get scholarships. I did work. I worked all the way through graduate school, both graduate school experiences at University of Denver and at the University of Colorado. So I did work. I found grants and other things. So, and I had a partner who, let me have it a little bit easy when it came to the rent and all that stuff. But I didn't do a lot of extra things. I mean, I had this one thing about I could do one fun thing a week, meaning, when I was in graduate school. So I was like, okay, I'll do my one fun thing because it was so all-encompassing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're reading your textbooks for fun, and
I did have 8 years of student loans after my first master's degree, so it wasn't like I got off scot-free. And then the 4-year doctoral program was a lot of scholarships, a lot of working, and all that. So yeah, it can be done. And I think that's the thing that I want people to get is that I always talk about what's the one first small step? What's one little thing? And so people get overwhelmed. Oh my God, there's so much to do. I was like, all right, one, what's the one thing? And they say, that's it. Okay, now do it. Okay, do it now. If I need to do it with you, let's do it now. Whatever it is, So it's just one series. It's a series of very small steps.
Got it. Yeah, I can tell you're a good coach can kind of small steps, small bites. Don't get overwhelmed because
I'm going to hire Terry.
I know.
Please.
Oh, I think you wanted to ask about her spiritual psychology degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What does that kind of include? When you say spiritual, is it religion based? Is it, then you go into denomination? What's the change there for regular psychology?
Well, okay, sure. So basically, just to give you a little bit of background in me, I was born into the Catholic Church, and that, very, very important part of my life. To me, this Catholic Church has a very mystical part to it, which I've always been very fascinated with and all that. I'm not very good with the rules. The Catholic Church, just to be
Okay. What rules?
No,
There's so many.
But anyway.
Oh, really?
So, but there's, and if you read one of the stories in my book around the plain white garment, is that this was a spiritual experience for me. I knew that this accident there was something about it that I needed to learn from a spiritual standpoint. Like, what is my purpose in life, and what am I doing here, and all that. And then along the line, I had a therapist, a counselor who became, a friend and a mentor, and she did a lot of work with me using her spiritual psychology skills that she learned at the University of Santa Monica in California. And so I became very intrigued in that because I lived it. I mean, I worked with those processes. They helped me a lot. So in a nutshell, to me, spiritual psychology is around applying the techniques and philosophies of counseling with very much of a spiritual, broader sense, purpose and meaning. What am I doing here? Really uncovering the unique gift that I have to bring to the world and helping others with theirs. There's a lot of self-forgiveness involved. There's a lot of compassionate, seeing the loving essence, that kind of stuff, and really accepting people for who they are in the moment, knowing that they're on a spiritual path. Really, we all have a curriculum we're working on, and we're doing it through this human experience.
Okay, that's a lot to take in.
I know. It's like you got
No.
some time for it.
Yeah, right. Do the whole. What classes did you take?
It's not airy fairy fluffy. It's this to me is around. Well, let's get real. Let's get real here and see what's going on.
The mind body connection,
correct.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. People struggle so much by what they think.
100%.
Sometimes their thoughts are like they're not really helping you.
No.
Yeah, these stories we tell
Yeah.
ourselves.
There you go.
Yeah, but it does. I can see how seeing psychology with a spiritual kind of blanket over it,
Correct.
I guess,
Yes.
is very useful in therapy,
very
right?
helpful,
Because it
yeah.
weaves through all the purpose and the meaning and the ritual and stuff like that
Definitely.
we all thrive with.
I wanted to ask too. Did I hear you say you did the first TEDx Grand Junction?
Yeah, I was one of the invited speakers to I'm pretty sure it was the first one in Grand Junction in 2017, I
That
believe.
sounds right. 2017 sounds like the first
It was
year.
really fun, and yeah, I feel like that was a kind of a big start to my signature keynote presentation that I've done at multiple conferences and association meetings. So I feel very grateful for that opportunity.
Awesome. Yeah, I know it's coming up again. Is that something you attend as as it comes, or?
No.
No, that's all right. That's all right. We won't tell them.
I'm a loser. I'm a loser at that. I'm a winner at a lot of things, but there's a certain things I'm like, well, I
You got your own stuff going. You got
yeah,
your own.
and I support those guys, and I really appreciate it. If I could come up with a different speech, I'd probably enter again, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. So that might.
Well, it's been a while. Maybe you could just use the same one.
Sure.
Just slightly different. No, I think I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Terry, for being here. You can find Terry's book and read more about her on her website, drterrychase.com. That's DrTerrychase.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. High Desert Voices is the official podcast of the Western Colorado Writers Forum, a nonprofit organization based in Grand Junction, Colorado. The forum's mission is to foster a rich and diverse writing community on Colorado's western slope that invites participation from diverse cultures, customs, and life experiences. The forum hosts Writers' Night presentations at the Grand Junction Center for the Arts on the first Tuesday of every month, where local and national writers give presentations on their craft. Sign up for the forum's free newsletter and listen to all our podcast episodes for free at westerncoloradowriters.org.